Hello! How's everybody doing? 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗚, how do you build all this sci-fi stuff? Good question. I just think just through a lot of practice. I think more than anything. I just think through a lot of practice. I tend to absorb like movies and books and stuff. Like I'm a huge lover of sci-fi and dystopian novels. So one of the things that's really great about books over movies, or like films. Hey, Fungi, welcome to the stream. So one of the things that's really great about books is you don't visually see the stuff, you're just getting descriptions of the buildings. And the whole idea is to like build up the image in your mind. And sometimes I like to see how that would come to life. So I get inspiration from lots of different places. But when it comes to building, just I think having a good idea before you start. I'll sometimes draw something on paper, and then that helps me when I actually get to actually doing the thing. Because I don't plan things. I don't tend to plan things. Like everything in season 2 of Random Craft. I can't plan out stories or plan out builds weeks or months in advance. Because that's a bit too easy. I want to have to force myself to do it in like a very small space of time. So like the sci-fi build that I did in my, I think it was actually my last Random Craft episode. I need to do more Random Craft episodes. But that build was all designed and built in the 2-week gap between the previous episode and that episode where I built it on the server. Okay, anyway. As much as I could talk about building all day. I think the best thing is just inspiration. Looking at other people's builds is also great. I can relate to that, but not on purpose. I just procrastinate. Procrastination's fun, though. Procrastination is good. A lot of scientific discoveries have been discovered by great people not wanting to wash their dishes and just thinking, there's something better I can be doing with my time. I'm sure of it. So, yesterday, we did some modeling in Blockbench. We'll be making a ballista. So here we go. This is our ballista. That's going to be my excuse to not wash dishes. You know what I could be doing instead of all of this washing dishes? I could be coming up with the theory of relativity, but no. Plates need cleaning, I guess. So, this is the modeling we did. And today we're going to texture it. I did make some changes after the stream, so you'll notice that there's now... Let's just do a quick run through of what I changed. I added some bolts to where the arms would be levering backwards. I added in this crosshair. I added in these sort of like pulleys going to where the bowstring is. And then because I wanted to put those pulleys in, I split the actual bow into 2 parts. Like that. I think that's all I did. I think that's everything I did. Other than, as you can see, everything's now in nice, neat, ordered folders. And most of the things are named, but not in the pin stuff. As you see here, like, for the rear crank, everything's labelled as if we're looking down. But we have crank handle right, and then the pin for the right, and then we have spool right, then the rope section, and then spool left, then the pin left, and then the handle left. So it's all being organised ahead of this stream. Now, if you missed yesterday's stream and you're wondering what the hell you're looking at, which could be in relation to the program or just me, this is Blockbench, which is a cube-based low-poly 3D modeling tool. So it's software you can make things in. I make stuff for Minecraft in it quite often. The video that I did live yesterday is on YouTube. You can just go back and watch that. I don't want to go too far in depth. It's interesting. We learn about vertices. I talk about vertices and lines and polygons and meshes and Z fighting and how to make all of these adjustments. We built all of this, bar those small little bits that I added. We did everything on here live, so you could literally follow along with that and learn this, I guess. Sadly, my procrastinating has pushed something I should have done last week. I have to do right now. But I will still listen to this in the background. Sometimes life finds a way. That was shoot arrows in Minecraft. So, ordinarily this would just be like a showpiece. I have got some plans on doing some stuff that so I'll have to do like some animation on this at some point in the future, but that's going to be beyond the scope of today. Today we're just texturing. So once you've got your modeling done, and I highly encourage you to do what we did yesterday, where it's, you know, it takes a little bit of time. You go through and color coordinate things, but it helps you visually see what's happening here. Otherwise it would just all be yellow. Or all be orange, or all be blue, or whatever color the default cube is that it gives you at the start. So what you want to do is you want to select all of these folders, if you've got them in folders. If not, you want to make sure just all of the layers are selected, so you can see everything's got like a green outline now, which is what we want. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on this beautiful button that says Create Texture, and we're going to set this to a 32. Because yesterday I explained how I work in 0.5s and then upscale. So we're going in working in 32s here. And we're going to name this Ballista. Creative, I know. Pair of two sizes. Padding, I don't mind about having padding. Rearrange UVs is fine. And I don't want box UVs. So I'm just going to click confirm. And as you can see, we've now got this huge, I mean, look at this. Big, beautiful thing, and you're seeing that it's also recolored all of this. This is why putting it all in folders is helpful, because we can isolate just the bowstring or just the arrow. So yeah, that's now our texture is this here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it real quick. There we go. Just so if we crash out, it's, you know, it's safe. Arrow shouting. Arrow shooting thing would be very good. Yeah, I actually don't know whether I do want to run in. I think maybe I want to upscale this by 4 times, which would mean that I'd actually want to go back and reselect. Yep. Yes, that looks more what I'm after. Indeedly doodly. Right, okay. Let's resave that. Okay, so that's saved. So I'm going to immediately drop some useful information on Ustream. There's a thing you can do inside Blockbench that I found is extremely helpful for the painting side. So if we go and click painting, here's all of our UV textures. This is every single face on here, all of the textures. And here we have our colors up on this section. So we've got all of these colors, and then we've got, you know, our 256 sliders, and we have hue, saturation, and values down there. And then we have all, like, this is opacity for the paintbrush, that's the size, there's our softness. Not that that really is that helpful when you're working in, like low res, like Minecraft is. And then we've got bucket fills, erasers, color pickers, drawing shapes, gradient tools, copy and paste tools, copy brushes, and there you get the gist. It's the tools. But one thing that this can be, it's fine, it's great to use and everything, and I do use it, and we will be later on. But there's this thing you can do. So if you right click, like just on the checkered background here, anywhere on the background, we can do this thing where we add a background. So I'm going to load this, which is a thing that I've made. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up here. I'm going to hold shift and drag to resize it. Right. We'll put that there. And then that there is, once we hit that, that's now locked in place. We can't accidentally move it or anything. It's just permanently there. And that's all our colors. So we've got a gold sort of selection up here, and then we have like metal, then we have wood, then we have what I've decided would be sort of like the bow rope type of colors, and then I've got a red in case I want to do some sort of like nice accenting or anything like that. But what we can do is, using the color picker tool, we can actually color pick from this, so you can see the color changes. So we can use it as a palette to get all of our colors, which is particularly handy when we're doing this type of thing. So the first thing that I want to do, I think, is probably I'm going to color these pins. So I'm going to hide everything else. I don't need anything else visible. So we just have these pins. Now, there's going to be a thing that I do in a moment, and I'll explain it because that is like a shortcut key. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select like the third in from the highlight, or maybe the fourth. Third or fourth? I think the third. And then I'm just going to fill in these. But I'm not going to do this one, or this one. But just going to do this one here. Just this one. There we go. So now we know that these sides are probably going to be a bit darker. So I'm just going to bucket fill those. So they're a touch darker for this painting side. Underneath would be slightly darker again. I'm going to go with that. And then if we have enough on there, which we don't, so what we're going to do is we're going to select the next one along there. I'm just going to put that in that color. Like that. So on this top bit, what we're going to do, I think it's just in the center. Let's select there. Grab that. Go try a paintbrush. Now we can, I think probably doing that to make it look a cross thread, but maybe doing just that would be better. Decisions. No, I think I prefer the cross. And then I'm going to take the slightly dark one, and then on this side I'm just going to... Oh, actually, I think I actually want to do... Drop through to the next part, I think? Yes. Oh, I'm not selecting the right bit. Right, so that's that color, so I want to go to that one. And that's there, so I actually want to select this color now. See how that's like too dark? What we can do is we can just lower this opacity down. So I'm just going to set it to 100. And just go around, just to get like a little bit of a shadow in on those parts there. And then, yeah, we'll go over it again and then put ones. Just to get like a faux rounded look to it. Hey, Director Amelia, welcome to the stream. Okay. So there we go. We've done one. We've done one. That's all we've done. Just the one. One's all you need. One's all you need. Especially if it's an axe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to edit. And then I can select this face and press Ctrl-C. And then select this face. And then I can copy the UV face over to there. So we're just going to do that for all of these. Later on, this is going to make our texture a lot smaller, which is going to be handy. Obviously, the smaller amount of space this texture takes up on this board, the smaller the file will be once we're all done. Obviously, that goes without saying, the smaller the file is, the better. Faster loading and less going on screen. So yeah, I'm just doing the regular keyboard shortcuts for copy and paste. Control-C for copy, Control-V for paste. And I'm just pasting the UV faces. And if you look up here, you'll see this jump when I paste the UV face, and it'll like move up there. So there, and there. And then that's the point where I now want to go and take the bottom. Did I put the bomb on this one, do you mean? I think so. Let me see. Yes, I did. I haven't on these yet. I follow sort of like... so when I did computer game design, one of the things that we had to do was fine art. So we had to like learn a lot of that, which was fine because I went to art school before getting into game design. So I didn't mind it so much. But like they're teaching that like starting from the top and working your way down. So I kind of do that quite often when I'm doing stuff. I'll like start on the top face and then I slowly work my way down. So these bottom bits here, if this is the section you're talking about, those are against wood. So we're actually going to null those faces to save on space. Because that's got, if I pull in the wooden braces, so they're touching up against this. So those bottom faces aren't visible at all. Now I could texture them, but it's better to just null them at the end, so that there's no texture there at all, and it just doesn't render. So there are pins. They're really bolts more than anything. And then we've got these, which are our wooden support struts. So we're now going to go to our paint. And we're not going to copy and paste these ones. Now here I'm going to get into the reason why I'm not going to copy and paste these. So when it comes to screws and other things that are cast metals and things like that, they tend to be made using very specific tooling things. So nowadays we use machines for all of that. But wood is an organic material. It's not an inorganic material. So things aren't like a direct copy of one another. They're not identical wood grains and stuff like that. And although we're not going to be working in that higher texturing, we probably will put some different color values in to represent that they're not the same. And I'm going to select that color for now. And then we're just going to go to town. Just going to go to town. Blop, 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 blop. So I asked this question yesterday, and some people had some decent answers. What is it you would, if you have Blockbench, what is it you would like to make? What sort of things have you played Minecraft and been like, oh, I would love to see that in Minecraft? Whether it's an item or a block or a mob. Because that's what this is. This is a creative studio. You know, our only limitations are our imaginations. A pirate ship. Ooh, I've made a bunch of pirate ships. They are fun to build in Minecraft, but they are also very time consuming. Ah, I'm still on low opacity. There we go. So what we have to do is we have to start thinking about shadows. And I think what we're going to do is find where... bow arm bottom, ballista shaft. It's not rear crank. Where did I put that? Interesting. That's ballista bottom. That should really be up there. But I can't move it in paint, that's fine. Just put that in. Do it in Blockbench and then have it move in Minecraft. That would be interesting to sort of have slightly higher res. So what we're doing is we're just trying to figure out where the shadows are going to lay, and we're just blocking those in. Now this section's probably, I know that a couple of people that watch my streams do art. I know Director Amelia's done like art and stuff of like the randoms. So you're probably used to sort of like the idea of like, ah yes, where shadows fall. Also, where shadows fall, great title for a mystery novel. Someone get on that. Immediately get on that. Make all the money. Okay, let's go back around to this section where we were at before. So that was our main tone. So one of the things with woods is they really are just sort of grained. They're not that difficult to do. It's not really isn't that difficult to do. To sort of make something look like it's a wood texture. Now what I'm going to do is I think on these ones, I'm going to move that over to there so we get like a bit of bleed out. I do like the idea of a pirate ship. It would take a while to build that out. Maybe a ship in a bottle. But I kind of like a ship in a bottle. Also, I apologize if you hear me slurping tea. Chat. I'm not gonna lie to you. I made the promise yesterday that we would do this stream today, right? And the reason that I don't plan things, like streams and so on, is I have chronic insomnia. To the point where it's like a running joke with the randoms that I never sleep. Yeah, I've only had an hour's sleep since the last time we spoke. Less than ideal. It's less than ideal. But, you know, that's life. It's one of those things. I'm used to it at this point, but it is less than ideal. I will say that. It's not great not having enough sleep. I do hear the tea, but it doesn't bother me. Some people enjoy the sound of the tea. Yeah, it's the insomnia. It can be a problem. I'm not gonna lie, the insomnia can be a problem. But I have enough energy for this type of thing, so it's fine. We're not doing anything that requires a lot of my brain power, which is great. That's like the perfect thing. Right, I think what I'm going to do on these is, because I kind of wanted to get these bits to kind of look like wood. These I kind of want to look like they've been shaped more, so I think what I'm going to do is set that higher. You know that the bottom's darkest. I'm just going to do that. Do that. You can get that in like this. And then we're going to make those bits darker. I'm not sure how I accidentally coloured that one. Let's fix that. There we go. It's also where we're listening to some, like, more thumpy music today. That's the technical term, I think. I don't think it's called metal. It's thumpy thumpy music. Because I need the energy. Today more than ever. Actually, not more than ever. I've gone like days without sleeping before. Not more than ever. Definitely not. Let's not risk my body being like, oh, more than ever. Allow me to ruin your life. Also, get those bits in. I think that's the point where it would then start falling to be darker again. So I'm going to take the darkest one. I'm just going to do that, I think, and then put that back in. Okay. Welcome back, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗚. Yeah, let me ruin your life. Why not? Alright, it wasn't the best time to come back, I'll admit that. Look, I've ruined my wife's, so I think it's only fair that I get to ruin at least somebody else's. Alright. Did your dog enjoy that? Well, I love dogs. This may just turn into a dog stream now. What sort of dog do you have, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗏? Well, actually, I'm going to copy these because I actually think they would be more uniform because they are shaped. That's the piece. Ah, words. They are hard. A Rottweiler. I've never owned a Rottweiler. They get an unfair reputation, though. I've known people that have had them, and they are the dopiest dogs. They're really loving the I think the stigma around a Rottweiler is a little bit unfair. Yeah, I'm a huge animal lover. I know, like, alright. Some truth time. So anybody that's watched my Random Craft episodes is going to be aware that when I see rabbits in game, I tend to remove them from existing. My character, or rather, you know, within the story side, the lore of Random Craft, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗏 has a fear of rabbits. There's a reason for that. I have a fear of rabbits. And I know that's weird. I know that sounds odd, but there is a legitimate reason for it. But I'm scared of them. I don't wish them any harm. I'm just scared of them. Everyone's always like that when they find that out about me. Well, yeah, rabbits, man, rabbits. I've just accepted it at this point. So the reason behind it Seeing as, you know, it's a Thursday morning. Did you get bitten by one as a child? Not far off. My little sister, I have a younger sister. I have two sisters. I'm the middle child and only boy. My younger sister, who's 5 years younger than I am, when she was 2, so I'd have been about 7. That's how maths works. She had the end of her finger bitten off by a rabbit. And it was a white rabbit. And then there is nothing more terrifying than a rabbit that's white, that's just mouth area is covered in blood. And I decided I didn't like them anymore. They weren't my friend. Hey BMA, welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're having a nice morning. With red beady eyes. Yeah, it was not a fun experience overall for me. So I decided I didn't want to be around those as creatures anymore. So I've decided I don't like these red tones in here, and we're going to change that. But for right now, we're just going to live with it. For now. But yeah, the overall experience of rabbits, it's not a huge lover of them. Dolphins are worse than rabbits. Yeah, I could see that. I'm not a fan of. I'll tell you what it is with rabbits in particular for me since that incident. I realised that any animal that wants to bite you, that isn't evolved for that purpose. Like if a cat bites you, right? You get bit by a cat, it's got canines, it's got fangs, it's built to bite stuff. That's its job. Dog, same thing. Rabbit, flat teeth. It doesn't pierce, it just snaps. It just snaps bones. Now, it's not getting any nutritional benefit out of it. It's not getting anything out of that deal. It's just being mean. And they can keep their nasty behavior to themselves. Thank you very much. If I wanted to start a video, what's your counsel? I actually have a video where I talk about that very specific thing. I think the first thing, and I've said this to people before, and I will say it on here as well. The very first question that you need to ask yourself is, why should somebody watch you? That's the very, very first question that you should ask yourself. If you can't watch your own stuff, then nobody else should want. Like, you can't expect anybody else to want to watch you if you don't want to watch you. So find out what it is that makes somebody want to watch you, and that might be something that you don't even like about yourself ordinarily. It is with me. One of the reasons that I can't actually speak for you all, but I have spoken to people in the past, is I just say what's in my head, and I'm silly, and I enjoy having fun, and that comes from having extremely short-term memory loss and having LLI, which I've spoke about in videos before. And, you know, as a result of that, I just say stuff. Quite often. I don't really have a filter. I'm pretty good at stopping myself from swearing now, which is pretty good. But I never used to. I used to be good at that at all. I think this box section. Yeah, we're gonna do like dark camo. We're kind of gonna treat it like my box that I have in my skin. We're just kind of gonna go around the edge and then get a little bit of like tones and stuff. Maybe put like a bit like this top section in metal. So yeah, I think the very first question to ask yourself, 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗓, I think, is it 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗓? 𝗕𝗢𝗓, I'm just gonna say dragon because I know how to pronounce that word. Do you play D&D? Yes, I do. I haven't done for a while, but not only do I play tabletop role-playing games, I've designed tabletop role-playing games, completely new systems and stuff like that. I'm a huge nerd.
Oh, you're a DM.
Nice. I absolutely love tabletop role-playing games. And again, that's something that's very handy for making content. So one of the things that I've had it where people have thought that. So as a DM, backtrack a little bit. As a DM, I always wanted to make my players feel like they were enveloped by the world. And I found great ways of doing that. Primarily, you have voices. Just learning to do different voices as a DM is really fun. And it's something I enjoyed. For real life stuff, I'm going to put some more chill music on. Are you guys cool with that, chat? Are you cool if I change the music from like thumpy music to some chill chat music? I'm not going to go like lounge music. Let's not go over the top here, but maybe, you know, like a little bit of synthwave or something. You say that, I'm going to put on polka if you say stuff like that, Director Amelia. It's just, Is this what you want? Is this what you want, Director Amelia? You want polka music? Now, chat, if you don't like this music, blame Director Amelia. This is for you. This is for you, Director Amelia. Funny story. My younger sister, that's her name, Amelia. Reminds me of SpongeBob. This is my jam. Catch me throwing shapes in the club, like. So yeah, as a DM, I try to always find ways of like getting the players to be completely enveloped in the story, and part of that was to do voices. If you're doing like I'll find this and I'll link it on my Discord, which there's a link for in the description if you're interested in joining the Discord. Gonna help my homies with the new SpongeBob, just in a low. Now I'm just picturing like Captain Fungi in like a real like just suspension dropped low rider, just in the hood slamming down polka music like a beast. Sorry. Yes, on my Discord I will put a link for this. There is a company that makes scented candles, and I would use them in real sit-down sessions. Obviously, if you're doing like an online, you can't use them, but you can do it where they have like things like grave dirt and stuff like that. So you can this music is fire, legit fire, yo. And you can like basically have it so they've got the voice, so I'm covering that sense. Their ears are covered. I've got like backing music. It's all polka. All of my D&D games, it's all polka music. I've got like ambience and stuff, and then I'm doing the voices of characters, and then I would use these candles, and you can get incense sticks and other things like aromatherapy type oils, you know, for like oil diffusers that also have these sort of strange smells. Like one was called dragon's blood. It smells like dragon's blood. One was called I think it was called vampire nest. So it was like a mix between a couple of their other scents, like grave dirt and blood, and I think like must, like water, like that musty smell of water and underground stuff. Dun, 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 dun. I don't think there's that much polka music on here. I think that might be our main problem with listening to polka music overall. Yeah, there's actually 2 tracks. 2. Alright, let's so I don't drive you insane with just repeating 2-track polka music. There we go. So I would cover that sense, and then so I've got sound and smell, and then say you've got like your players and they're in like a dungeon type of thing. You got this like let's say a vampire nest type of thing. You've got the smell thing, you've got the ambience, dripping water, and all of that sort of things. That's our only problem with polka music, not enough of it. And I would have it say they found like a skeleton, like a skeletal remains, and it was holding like a scroll. I would describe the scroll to them, and if they chose to inspect that, you know, pick it up and stuff, I would then give them a physical scroll that I'd antiqued and aged for this specific event in case it happened. But inside it, I would put like gummies, like sweets, you know, like chewy sweets and stuff. They will be like little sour maggots and worms and stuff. So as they open the scroll, stuff would fall out and it would just catch them off guard. And then they've got something to eat, so I've covered taste. And that's how I'd function on everything. I would work my way through the sensors and try and get them as enveloped as I possibly could. And it's sort of like the main sort of thing that I give them plot-based snacks. I'm a huge lover of just trying to cover as much of the bases as possible to make it an enjoyable experience for them. And anybody that's sort of sat at like a table that I have, I always try and sort of like try and encourage them. I want them to do voices and to envelop those characters. So I also would do like full motion graphics and videos. So one of the campaigns that I did was called District 5, which is probably one of my more popular ones. Oh wait, I do have that selected. That is that color, that's why. Ha. Yeah, it was called District 5, and rather than it was a cyberpunk sci-fi world. It was a city. It was a big domed city, and I've been asked by some of the people that played in that whether I would remake that in Minecraft. So maybe at some point I will do that. But it was this big domed city, and there was a thing in that city. It was run by a totalitarian council that were just called the Council, and they didn't like sidekicks and stuff, or what they called cogs, as in like precognition. And they had a machine, or an automaton, like a robot, called Dana, which stood for the District 5 Automated News Automaton. And the way that it would pick up on news is it would listen to everything that was happening via these things called gravstats that flew around the city. And it would just pick up and it would just reveal secrets. So everybody was kept in check by the council. And because it listened to everything, rather than sort of like doing the voice of Dana and stuff, I decided that a great way to start the sessions to introduce hooks to the players and stuff that they could maybe get into doing was to actually have recorded, like essentially recorded video that I would play at the beginning of the session. That's still a touch too bright for this. So the players would sort of like come in, and then they would hear like a news piece, and like it was a good way of me to it was a really good way for me to cover what they did in the last session, like a session recap, because it was listening to everything that they were doing. So it was a really good way for me to sort of be like, ah, yes, the council are listening. How many groups do I have now? None. Actually, that's not true. There's a session that I was supposed to start in October for a campaign that I've come up with. And I've gone very in depth with that. It's probably the second most work I've ever put into a session or a campaign. I think I've shared videos of it, but it's got hidden ciphers, like hidden encoded messages in music that I've composed and put in there. It's got hidden ciphers in text and all sorts of crazy stuff, because it's all based around like this secret society and things. But yeah, I'm a big nerd. I really am. I'm a real big nerd. But I think for me, everything that I do is all about how much, the fun. I will pay. I will pay you my entire life savings, which is about $5, to write the details about the world that your D&D game takes place in. District 5 was an interesting world. It was a world that people loved so much. And I remember how it ended in such a glorious way. So this has just turned into a D&D talk chat thing now, but I'm cool with that. If you guys are cool with that, I'm cool with that. So as I said, District 5 was run by this totalitarian council. It was run by these faceless people. No one ever saw them bar one person. That's all that was seen. Just this one guy. He was the spokesperson. He was called Gideon Rochforth. He was the only one that was ever seen. Nobody else ever was. And the players became aware that the council, they weren't really good people. They were bad. They were bad people. And they decided, hey, we don't like this. We're gonna deal with them, because the council had these big signs and posters up, and I actually did like the full graphic design and designed full posters. And again, I should probably share those on the Discord at some point. But they had these full posters where it'd be like, psychics, you can't trust them. Report them to the council today. It was very Orwellian, very George Orwell. And it was because they didn't like these psychics. Or so it seems. As the players continued on, though, they started to find these weird secret bits out. Like, the council always said that, so they lived in this big domed city, like I said before. It was like this huge steel domed city. The council told everybody that they were basically the last survivors. It was like a city-sized bunker after an apocalypse, and that everything outside was gone. And that psychics, because they weren't affected by what I called the stain, which is the effects of the nuclear stuff, that the council, because the psychics couldn't be trusted, they just put them out into the wasteland to try and survive. So it didn't seem like it was that bad at first. Not great, but not the worst it could be. But the players decided they didn't like the council and they were going to take them down. So they struggled through and planned and plotted for months of sessions. I led them in interesting directions. They met lots of characters. It was a lot of fun. It was a ton of fun. It was great. And they finally got into this glass tower, which is where the council were, and then found a way down into what was called the core, which was like an underground, seemingly what sounded like a nuclear reactor core that powered the city. And there's a lot of other bits about the council that I should say. There was an artificial sun in the city, and if people were misbehaving or seeming like they were like becoming a little bit hostile towards the council, they would just stop the sun from rising. So they were not great people. Let's just go across there. So the players, they got into this core. The core's like in Undertale. I'll be level with you. I've never played Undertale. But if it has a thing in there, that sounds pretty cool. But yeah, so they got down into this core, and then what they actually discovered was that Dana, this automated news automaton, and the grav stats, the reason that everything could be heard and everything could be seen and everything could be monitored, and what was powering this entire city, was all of the people that were psychics were put into machines that was essentially extracting and utilizing their psychic energy. Now, by this point, the players had got themselves into a bit of a pickle because they couldn't get out. They were trapped in there. They were surrounded. They didn't know what to do. They were going to die. They knew they were going to die. So, knowing that this was this last bastion type of deal, their last stand, they stood their ground and fought and decided they were going to blow up the entire glass tower and the core with them and all of the high-up council members inside it. So they would die, but they would stop this thing from happening. So they do that, and they blow up the thing, and I describe the scene as it sort of all comes to its end. And I think I had them all roll, if I remember correctly. I think Yasaragi, the character called Yasaragi, was played by my friend Flames. He rolled decently, and he sort of hung on to life a little bit longer. But that makes sense, because he was a Space Marine type of character. As the dome was falling and crumbling around them, he looked out into the distance and saw that there was hundreds of these other domes. And the district, basically the council just controlled lots of these cities and told everybody that they were the last remnants to keep everybody in check. And all they'd done was taken down one. Because they never tried to leave the city. They just bought into the idea that outside was dangerous. So I was bugged for like 2 years, I think, after that, to bring it back, because they wanted to play it. They were like, no, we hadn't done anything. We didn't do anything. So I brought it back as District 5, The Aftermath. And that one I just played. I just toyed with their heads a lot in that one. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. If I ever become a DM for a homebrew D&D campaign, I'm going to blatantly plagiarize you. I mean, that's fine. It's like it's all about all I ever want is for people to have fun. Like that's all I ever want. So what I want for you guys on the stream, I want you guys to have fun. Whether that's me just sitting here talking about D&D for 3 hours, or whether that's us doing something actually useful, you know, in terms of like Blockbench, I don't mind. As long as you guys have fun. That's all that really matters. As long as it's, you know, just not Minecraft stuff. Because, you know, that gets a bit samey just doing, you know, oh, here's another Minecraft stream. I want to have a little bit more fun than just Minecraft consistently. Director Amelia got to go. Love the D&D story. Catch you later, Director Amelia. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Okay, so we have our box done. Sort of. We've not got these parts in. But we will. Although we're probably going to be replacing these reds, but the more I'm adding them in, I think it's sort of tying it together, but I still think they're a little bit too red. Oh, I was supposed to put... could I do a game with some subscribers? That would actually be kind of fun. Quite a few of the OG randoms play D&D and stuff. That might be a fun way of doing the campaign that I started preparing over the Halloween period, to be fair. Oh, actually, before I do that, before I go crazy. Let's go crazy. There we go. Yeah, D&D is one of my not necessarily D&D itself, but tabletop role-playing games, I think, in general. I actually genuinely think there's better systems than D&D now. That's not to say I don't like D&D. But there are some amazing, amazing systems that kind of make D&D seem a bit overly bulky for no reason. The way that they just handle the settings and stuff is just better. In my opinion. Of course, that's my opinion, and opinions are personal. So District 5, that wasn't in D&D, that was in a system called Stars Without Number. In the book of rule, the first rule is there's no rules. Yeah, and don't get me, I think it's more the general, and I don't want this to sound harsh to anybody here, and this is a very unique sort of thing. Yeah, Stars Without Numbers really fun. I enjoy I really enjoyed that. My favorite systems, in terms of tabletop roleplay, not just roleplay, but tabletop roleplay specifically, and it's what I ended up using for District 5 in the end, because I used Stars Without Number, because it was the first system that I ended up DMing it for. So it was a system I felt comfortable enough in to start homebrewing things rapidly. But I ended up homebrewing a lot of things, so it was not ideal in the grand scheme of things. And I ended up switching over to another system, which is genuinely my favorite system, called Barbarians of Lemuria. And it's a rules light sort of D&D. And it has an add-on module called Barbarians of the Aftermath, which is literally just built for post-apocalyptic stuff. So that's what I ended up doing. I just switched over to that, and never looked back, because it was just so good that I couldn't see playing anything else. Oh yeah, I always let the players have those choices. Like I say, I want them to have fun. So if I'm like, oh, you can only play this, or this, or this, that's already been too restrictive for a roleplay game. For me. Again, everything's subjective, right? We're just doing this metal trim. Big, beautiful metal trim here. Okay, that's that color. So it's this that changes. Oh, it's honestly, Barbarians of Lemuria and Barbarians of the Aftermath are absolutely amazing. They are two of my, well, I say one's an extension, like an extension module, but because it's rules light, it's a lot of fun. I let them choose to, but sometimes they want to. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, that's fair. So, particularly with D&D, I kind of feel that sometimes players, you can have too much of a good thing with creativity. There has to be some rules somewhere, I think. You're quite right. Ooh, whoops-a-daisy. That's not what I wanted to do now. Just doing a little bit of texturing to get a little bit of wood-looking grain up here. Yeah, it's one of those things. I sort of fell out of love with just regular D&D after playing some other systems, and also designing my own systems. I have a system that is, well, long story short, me and a bunch of my friends wanted to, we found out that there was a Rick and Morty expansion for D&D. And I'm a big Rick and Morty fan. It's that sort of silly pseudo-science sci-fi that I do in my content. And I was like, oh, that's great. And they all wanted to play it. And then we looked into it, and it was just really janky. It was very clunky. So I just created my own system called 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗔𝗗 that was purposefully built to be a very fun, very quick to get off the ground. Like, the entire design document for that game was I wanted it where players could get into playing within 15 minutes of picking up the book for the first time and know everything that was happening. So that was my goal. And I think I achieved that, so that's good. Yeah, I made that. It was called 𝗕𝗢𝗜𝗠𝗠𝗔. I think it's still on its dirty edition, which is like the version that is sort of like still needs cleaning up and things. But yeah, it was it's a fun system, and people really enjoy playing it in all of the tests. So. Those braces are going to get in the way a little bit there, aren't they? Should have put those in a different area, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗏. You should have put those grouped separately so you could hide them. This is why we group things, chat. This is why we group things. Otherwise, 𝗕ENIGMA makes boo-boos. I want to make a boo-boo. Probably reintroduce some dark stuff back into there. I changed the vote to magic because it's too complicated. Yeah, the system that I have a campaign set up for at the moment is a tabletop. It's not a tabletop. It's weird. It's for Monster of the Week is the game. Trying to introduce some slightly darker elements into this lower section, just for a little bit of shading. Somewhere, yes, give me a moment here, chat. Let's have a little show and tell. As if I uploaded them to... I did. Okay, so that's number one. That one's number two. Okay, that's one. That's two. That's 3. Yes, that's 3. They were they're the videos in the correct order. For, well, essentially the campaign that I've been preparing. We did some stuff for it, but random craft takes a lot of my time. It takes more of my time than it does any of the other randoms, just because admin and stuff. So I ended up postponing it until I could find a little bit more time to sink into it. So we're working our way up this box slowly with our wood, and I'll probably add some better graining into this, some higher contrast graining after the fact. But for now, we're doing okay. For now. I think what I should have done on the lower ones is go through and put in darker tones. Well, that was the idea, is to kind of make it have that feel that you're watching something that was dangerous. Again, it was for the players to be able to, you know, feel what it is that's going to be happening. But yes, yeah, it does have that feel to it. I can assure you, though, it's all fine. It's just something I made in my free time in between making random craft episodes and tutorials and everything else that I do. Okay, we're actually going to color these as well real quick. I'm not even entirely sure whether I remember the first one. I don't really remember them that much. It's been a long time since I've watched them. Could only ever be said in London. I need my players to be able to roleplay drinking tea. I should have said, chat, by the way, and I apologize profusely. It is a horror game. If you suffer from being scared easily, I don't know how. Probably don't watch them. Just throw that out there now. I should have said that before. So my sincerest apologies. Where that some people don't like scary sort of stuff, right? So I apologize if you happen to be one of those people and you clicked on those. So I didn't really explain what to expect beforehand. Yeah, we're slowly working our way up. Five Nights at Freddy's already drawn. Well, that's okay then. So that's that one, right? I'm actually going to go darker than that even, so let's go there. Yeah, it's like a Victorian sort of style horror. Have I played Amnesia? I've actually not. I despite the fact that I should have played, like, so if anything, pretty much anything that came out between the years of 2015 to 2000 2018, 2019, more 2018. I likely haven't played. It's a safe assumption to make. I should state, that's not because I was in prison or anything. I was very, 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 very ill. And having lots of operations and stuff, so during that period I didn't play on anything, and I have very little recollection, really, of a lot of that time, because I was on a lot of medications. I had a major problem during an operation in 2016. That I say very nearly. I very, very, very nearly killed me. It was not fun. I don't advise it, chat. Let's put it that way. Don't do stuff like that. Oh no, no worries. It's fine. It's not a sympathy thing. It's an explanation of why I haven't heard of some games or played some games. So sometimes I'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, "Have you played this?" Because they know that I would like it, and I'm like, "No, I've never played that." And they're like, "How have you never played that?" And you're like, "Well, when did it come out?" It came out in like 2017. How have you not played it? Yeah, I was like not really fit for doing anything at that point. Like, that was not gonna happen. But yeah, no sympathy, chat. It's all good. I survived, and it made me a better person. Before that, I worked in the design industry. Okay, I'm not sorry that you almost died. That's better. That's much better, thank you. That's what I like to hear. It was a calculated risk. Also, I'm allergic to opioids, so morphine and stuff like that I'm allergic to. And I went in for an operation, and they asked if they could try and give me a drug called fentanyl, which is a synthetic opiate, under the assumption that most people who are allergic to opiates are okay with fentanyl. As it turned out, I was not fortunate enough to be one of those people. I was highly allergic to fentanyl. This is too dark. It doesn't seem that dark on this side. Did I lighten this side? I most certainly did. Alright, cool. I still feel like it's too dark, but well, maybe brighten it up a little bit in a second here. Let's select that, and then we'll just lower opacity over the top until I'm happy with that tonally. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3. So yeah, I don't remember too much of that time, of that period. But it did, like I say, I was a designer before that operation. And although it was a relatively traumatic period of my life with that happening, it made me change a lot about who I was and the direction my life was going in, and made me a much nicer person overall. So it was all good in the end. I want these to kind of mimic that, so. I think as with anything in life, it's always good to look for the positives. Choo choo. That's what that reminds me of. It reminds me of the Pistons on a steam train. What's my favorite monster? Oh. That's a good question. Favorite monster? I really like the Legend of Redcaps. I always found Redcaps fascinating. Some of that might be where I grew up. Well, that should be the other way around. But I always found Redcaps interesting. I don't know necessarily whether my favorite, though. I just find them an interesting fable. Why is that not copying over to there? Fine, I will paint it. I think, yeah, Redcaps, because the original story of a Redcap was interesting to me. They don't really get portrayed like that, but it's where the idea of garden gnomes comes from. You see those like garden gnomes with the beards and the red hat? That comes from a Redcap. And they were like these little small things, but the idea was is that if you like got near them, they would kill you, and they would dip their hat in your blood, and if it dried out the blood, they would die. They had to stay wet. Just a very interesting, you know, design choice overall for such a creature. Just throwing down colors. Oh, the bottom of that's already done. Don't like how harsh that is. That should have a... Oh, not that dark though. Calm down, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛. That's better. In this side. There we go. That's better. My favourite is the turtle dragon in D&D. I don't know if I know the turtle dragon. Let me have a look at that, what that looks like. Oh, I like that. It kind of reminds me of, what's it called? The 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗚? Is that what it was called? Yes. It reminds me of the 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗚, the world turtle. Yeah, I like that. It's funny. I Google imaged it, and one of the things that came up was a map that was done by somebody I know. Well, sort of know. We're a part of the same society, and he's actually done some work for me in the past. His name's 𝗲𝗚𝗫𝗛𝗚. 𝗲𝗚𝗫𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 He made the maps that I used when I was proposing to my wife. Because nothing I do is ever straightforward. Chat. Nothing I do is ever straightforward. So when I was proposing to my wife, I did it as a treasure hunt. Like a real life treasure hunt she had to go on. It had like designed maps and stuff like that. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. I don't know whether she did, but I really enjoyed myself. He's a very, very talented, artist, 𝗕𝗢𝗫𝗛𝗓. So I do cartography, and some of that's shared on my Discord. Some work stuff that I've done for people in the past, but his stuff's phenomenal. It really is breathtaking. I really love the way that he does his drawings. And I needed something very specific. Creating. I used to like the mimics to track my players. Yeah, mimics. I have a love-hate relationship with mimics. And my main problem with mimics is I really like them, but they're really overused. In terms of like just I find that it's very easy to become a lazy DM. And I've done tutorials and stuff on becoming a better DM that I've like got up under. theENiGMA's not the only name I go by online. I have other pseudonyms. I'm not going to say what those are because I don't hide my face with that pseudonym. But I've done tutorials and stuff to help people along. And one of the key things, it's one of my real bugbears, is the opening. What I sort of joke around is just the opening line that a DM makes, which is okay, so you're in this tavern. Just, it's fine if you guys have ever done that, by the way. It's just a real hatred of mine. So I did a campaign that was called Barbarians, which was like a jokey, it was sort of like He-Man or Thundercats, very sort of 80s cartoon inspired, and it had like an announcer that the players could actually hear but could never see, and he would say things as they were fighting, like he was like casting it as a sport, but they never saw him and they didn't know why, and things like he was just there following them around as a voice. And I even sort of jokingly had it where inside there they ended up, they started off at a gallows due to be hung, and then ended up in a tavern. Well, it was a tavern owned by an old adventurer, and it was like a complete mess on the inside. And the reason that he saved them is because he wants to make it an adventurous tavern, because all great adventures apparently start in a tavern. And he was an adventurer himself, and he's now retired, and he wants them to essentially be like patrons and like spread the word of this tavern and get him like heads to mount on the walls and stuff. And that was like why they were playing, is just to help him do up a bar, like like an inn for adventurers. I'd forgot about that one. That was fun. I enjoyed that campaign a lot. Absolutely ludicrous. Okay, we've got up to the point where we've done all the things that are visible. That's not the next part, is it? I think it's ballista bottom? No. I mean ballista bottom. Ballista shaft? Ballista shaft. Oh yeah, for sure. Mimics are amazing if they're done right. Like, mimics are awesome when utilized really well, like if you use them at these key moments. But I think at this point, it's very good to talk about fluffing. Like, about, well, fluffing, fudging the dice. Like, okay, I know there's a couple of you DMs here. Do you fudge? You fudge your dice? Are you people that are anti-fudging dice? Honest answers only. Let's start the debate. We can hide these now, as they only serve to get in the way. Sometimes, but not always. Good answer. I'm just going to blanket these with the paint bucket. So there was a period, and there still is a lot of DMs out there that are very anti-fudging dice. There was an interview with one of the guys who originally came up with D&D, and they asked him, "What do you think about fudging dice?" And his response is something that has stuck with me because it was very simple. So he was asked, "Oh, what do you think of DMs fudging dice and not using the things that were originally rolled?" And his response was, "Why do you think we have the DMs roll their dice behind, you know, the DM screen? Like, why do you think we told people to do that? Like, it's obvious that that is something that you would need to do. You can't be completely rolled over by a dice." There are some times where the roll is so ludicrous that it would cause a TPK, right? It would kill everybody. And you roll the dice and you're like, well, that's it. I mean, there's nothing. And in some instances, that's fine. But in other instances, you kind of want... The whole purpose is that it's a joint story about these heroes, but they should always be on the edge that they could die at any moment. But dice aren't aware of that. Dice don't know that there needs to be a balance. Sometimes you can just have a day, particularly if you're playing online on something like Roll20, where just every roll is ludicrous, because as I've mentioned in videos, computers can't calculate true random behaviors. There's always a parameter. Now, Roll20 has got some amazing technology that they utilize, and it is phenomenally random, but it's not, it's still not the best at handling that. And as a result, sometimes, yeah, you have to fudge your dice. I don't fake dice rolls, however, I do something similar where if the player has a good enough idea or a bad enough idea, then the result is pretty determined, not determined by dice. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially just like, kind of like fudging dice. And it's always good to, like, speak with the players obviously beforehand and let them know, like, not necessarily let them know, but ask what sort of things they are into and stuff, because I try and tailor my games for the players as much as possible. As part of being a good DM, obviously there are other rules of being a good DM. Never say no. That's like a good principle of being a DM. Never say no. Even if the answer's no, never say no. Just say maybe. Let them try and do a backflip whilst holding a dagger in their mouth onto a moving dragon that's soaring beneath a floating castle beneath them. Let them try and do that if they want to. Don't just say no, that wouldn't be possible. Because it might make for some just really funny death. Or if nothing else. I tend to always let the players at least attempt to roll for it, even if I know that it's probably not going to work out well for them in the end. When a player rolls a natural 20, do you ask them to see the cool, how cool the action will be? The way that I normally handle like crits on dice rolls, whether it's a natural 20 or a natural 1, is DM controlled. And it's again something I explain to players before they play in any of my games. I will come up with something that is fitting to that mood better. You get a feel for the room, right? As a DM, part of your thing is the players are your audience in a way. They're who you're telling this story to, but they're actively involved in altering that story, like a choose your own adventure novel. So I tend to have it where on those natural 20s, natural ones, where I will describe something that is fitting for that moment that will be more entertaining. For example, one of the warriors in one of my barbarians sessions was in the middle of a fight and rolled a natural 1, and I could have just had it where it was like a critical failure and had him roll the dice, and he could have said, oh, well, this happened, and, you know, being very relatively serious about it. But he was supposed to be playing this very macho character, and I like to test my players to see how they're going to roleplay in certain situations. That's why we play games like this, to see how a situation plays out. So he described what he was doing for this before he rolled, which is that he was drawing his broadsword from his belt as he ran into battle, and he was like wanting to swipe at the enemy and behead them. I say, sure, you roll for that. He rolled a 1. He was like, oh no, what happens here? Do they notice? Do I get attacked? Is it like, does this ambush fail? What happens? So I just described it in an interesting way. I said, you pull your sword out from your belt with such gusto, the belt snaps, your trousers fall behind you, down to your ankles as you run forwards, and you trip, hitting your head on a rock. You look up at the enemy who have now noticed you. You're concussed. And it made for a much more funny scenario. And now he's there, you know, laid on the floor with his trousers at his ankles after trying to fight, which was a more funny scenario for him to end up in, I think, than just saying he took some damage. I do allow them to do whatever they want. It's less that they have to make the correct decisions, and more you should solve the puzzle. It makes everything easier. However, if you try something absurd, then I'll allow it. Yeah, I've said this to people in tutorials and stuff like that. Sometimes the players want to do something dumb, and you just have to allow it, even though you kind of know that it's not going to go bad. Like if a player starts level 1 and they decide they're going to walk off into the wilderness, and they happen upon a cave that has a big sign outside that says do not enter. There's an NPC there grieving, and he's like, we should have gone into the cave of despair, and they're like, well, I'm going to go into that cave. They're probably going to die. Like, it's they've made that decision at that point, and at that point it's how much fun can we have with them on their journey to death. I think at that point, like, what can we do to at least make their deaths fun? When a player's got drunk, I make a roll of dice. Depending on the roll, I make a random. Yeah, it's fun as the DM to get to do those random actions. I think, at least part of the reason why people want to sit at a table that I'm at, and I've had people offer to pay money to sit at a table that I'm running, But I think the main reason people do is because I want, you know, I'm aware that they might not be that creative. So I'm able to help them along in a way that puts them into a scenario that they can kind of get a good amount of enjoyment out of. No worries, Oxel. Have a nice day. Let's remove that. Oh, I wasn't aware that it was nearly 1 PM for me. This is to be honest, we may need to wrap up the stream here. I'm going to be doing more streams today, but the others will be later on this evening. I think I'm happy with that wood texture, but I can't really tell. And those faces are nulled, that's going to help a lot. Let's put in our ballista bottom and pins and braces. Ah, yeah. Otherwise, that's going well. Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to save up here. It's 1 PM, so I've been streaming for a couple of hours. It's always good to take breaks, stretch my legs and stuff, and sort food and all of that sort of things. It's been fun talking about D&D stuff. And maybe at some point, if people are interested, I might do a D&D sort of Q&A stream. Seeing if we've been doing a fair amount of talking of D&D and tabletop role-playing games. But hopefully you've all had some fun. One time my player killed a barman. I have to describe how they weren't noticed. I like that. I'll probably continue doing a little bit of coloring and stuff like that whilst I'm not streaming, just so we can move on to doing some other models and things. But that's going to be it for me now. I'm going to go and eat and stuff. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed the conversations with each other and with me. As always, I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you may be. And I will catch you guys later. Bye!